She's not a superhero.
Yeah, she didn't make a great Invisible Woman. I didn't think. It just didn't
So,
seem realistic. I mean, I know it's a movie, but it didn't seem realistic for the movie. I could agree with that.
all right. So, number two.
Yep.
All right. Which one is your number two?
My number two was the Hulk, the 2003 The Hulk with Eric Bana.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably catch hell for it because in my opinion, it got mixed reviews. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it. But I just felt like it was too much of a love story. I mean, I know there's going to be some kind of something going on there, but it was just that's like all it was. It was like a chick flick with the Hulk in it.
Okay.
Eric Bana, I personally didn't think was the best Hulk that they could have cast, and the CGI I wasn't
Okay.
really impressed with. But maybe I was just asking for too much. I don't know.
All right. So, my number two, and this is one you're not going to be happy with. X-Men Origins. Wolverine.
I mean,
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm not happy with that.
With my list,
I can see its flaws.
I would have to say when you look at like comic book movies and look at source material,
Mm-hmm.
this was literally the worst movie when it comes to staying true to source material.
All right. Well, I can't say too much to that because I've never been big into comics. I do enjoy them. I just never really had that opportunity.
Like, come on, you just literally stapled Deadpool's mouth shut.
Yeah, that I wasn't
Gave
happy with.
him Wolverine-style swords, coming out of your arms, and then
Mm-hmm.
gave him a Cyclops-like power. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that. I mean, just all the source material, period, was just all terrible.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely.
Don't get me wrong, okay? Wolverine is a great character and everything, but creating too many Wolverine movies, from the get-go,
Mm-hmm.
and then giving us something like Origins it was a bad move.
Yeah.
All the way around, and that's why it is number two on my list.
Yeah, they kind of went all in with Wolverine. Like I was hoping for more different character movies. Like give me Gambit, my personal favorite X-Man. Give me a story with
Now, I will
just
say,
Rogue or just Iceman or
seeing
whatever.
Gambit in the Wolverine movies was great. Don't get me wrong, there was some good in the Wolverine movies,
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with Gambit. I was happy to see him, but I
ruining
wasn't.
Deadpool, ruining some of the other characters, that type of thing. You're getting put at towards the top of my list.
No, yeah, I didn't even think about that when I was thinking about movies. That was very disappointing when I seen Deadpool. I'd seen him and I was like, that's Deadpool. And I was like, wait, that's not Deadpool. And then yeah, it's Deadpool. Sadly enough.
Okay, so before we get to our, this is top 5 worst superhero movies. So instead of honorable mentions, we're going to have dishonorable mentions.
Yep.
But before we do that, we've got a comment here, and it is Keegan Harris. And he is listing his top 5, and I'm going to try to do this while playing, and I'm out of ammo all the way around.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god.
Better whip out
Completely
your
out of
shovel.
ammo, guys.
You better whip out your shovel.
I can't remember. I cannot remember how to whip out the shovel.
Right on the D-pad. If you have the
got it.
if you have the
Okay.
one ability, you hit your L and R, you can shoot without reloading, and you don't even have to have ammo. I think it's offense.
I'm trying to live, but
I use camo, so I can just go invisible.
So, his top 5, you know, I'm pretty much dead, so this makes it easy. His top 5 worst superhero movies is Spider-Man 3, Elektra, Batman and Robin, Hulk. Iron Man 3 is your worst?
Ooh.
That's different. I don't think I've ever seen that at the top of anybody's list. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it had its flaws. But that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. But you know, everybody's got their least favorite for a reason.
Yeah, that's true.
So, well, let's talk about, you know, honorable mentions. You know, movies that are terrible, but they weren't quite bad enough to top the lists. Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna have to say, let's put Elektra and Daredevil together, okay? Because they pretty much spawn from the same. The reason I won't put these at the top of my list is because of the acting alone. The acting in the movies weren't terrible. Like, when you look at Affleck, you know, he did what he could. I mean, granted, his script was terrible. That was probably one of the worst scripts that, you know, we've seen in superhero movies, and same with Elektra. Just the scripts and everything all together were just all terrible. So those will be, you know, up there, but not quite top 5 for me. Because at least in Daredevil, they stayed close to the character, you know, that is Daredevil. So my other dishonorable mention that I'll have to say is Batman versus Superman.
Right. Yeah, that's one of mine.
You know, Batman's a great superhero, and I love a lot of the Batman movies. But, you know, to say that pretty much two Batman my tops, you know, for worst movies or whatever, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reason being for Batman versus Superman is because of the clutter.
All right.
It was the worst cluttered superhero movie that I think I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not saying the acting is bad. I'm not saying the characters are bad. It was legit just because of the clutter and the script. And let's not to mention Doomsday. Like, I love the Doomsday storyline in the comics, but Doomsday versus Superman should have been its own movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the last thing for Batman versus Superman would be the Martha thing. You just pinned these two people up against each other who are legends, and they stopped fighting because of the name Martha. Like, Batman and Superman have fought, I think the last time I looked was like 15, 16 times in the comics. Not one single time did it end because of a name.
I've never heard of it.
Which, that's why that would be... Keegan wants us to talk about how much Lex Luthor was just a creep in the movie. You know, a lot of people hate me for this comment, but I actually like Lex's character in the movie because he was cynical. And I know it wasn't Lex Luthor. I know, because that's like one of the characterizations that they got wrong in the movie. But that the way they done the character was actually humorous to me.
Yeah.
But he is a creep. I'm being chased, and I got hit.
Yeah, I had that as one of my dishonorable mentions, but when I was watching it, I was busy because it just didn't capture me enough that I could sit down and get into it. So I don't know, there wasn't a lot I could talk about because there wasn't a lot I could remember from it.
All right, so give me your dishonorable mentions.
Let's see. Besides Batman versus Superman, The Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. That was another
Really?
one. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's horrible, but it felt kind of like they just tried to put Spider-Man out there so they could keep putting Spider-Mans out there. Like they were going to lose the license to it or something, so they just had to kind of just toss something out there for people. No, I'm not saying it's horrible. That's why I didn't make the list. But there was a lot that I don't remember about it, so apparently I didn't get into it too much.
See, I actually liked Amazing Spider-Man. I like the fact that we got like Gwen Stacy where we hadn't got her before, and there was a lot of aspects about those movies that I actually liked.
Right. I may change
so is
my
that your
mind if I
only?
go back and watch it. It's possible.
Is those your only dishonorable mentions?
No, I got two more. That's
What you
fairly
got?
dishonorable. They dishonored me, and I'm upset. Let's see, Amazing Spider-Man. The Hulk from 2008 with Edward Norton is another one that I wasn't pleased with. It just seemed like another bad attempt at a Hulk movie. Now it's better than the first one, but I mean, I'm a fan of Edward Norton, but I still say they could have done better. And
I honestly just don't think that there's any way that you can properly make a Hulk movie.
No, I mean, if you do, it needs to not have a lot of love story in it. I'd like to see one with, it's something I don't know a whole lot about, but the, what is it? Like the Hulk War of Hulk, where he's fighting in the tournament.
Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk.
World War Hulk, that type of thing. Yeah.
I'd like to see something along that lines, because Hulk is just a beast.
Now,
he gets mad, he fights.
I will say, no spoilers or anything, but in the new Thor movie, you actually get a taste of what.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
And it's hilarious and enjoyable, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that one.
Yeah, I heard about that, but I'd still like to see just a straight Hulk movie where you kind of see the build-up and get into that, and then from there you can branch it out wherever you want to go. Or you just make a one-and-done Hulk movie.
Keegan is mentioning TMNT from 2014.
Yeah.
I was disappointed with that one as well. And one of my favorite actors in it, I thought it was going to be a lot better. Mm-hmm. Seeing as they had Stephen Amell, but that didn't turn out the way everybody saw or thought it would.
I enjoyed it.
Plus some terrible CGI.
Yeah, I enjoyed it from the point
I hate the way the turtles look.
From it being just a movie to watch, I enjoyed it. But as far as Ninja Turtles movie, no, it was not. The CGI was freaking horrible. I personally like the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The 90s, yes.
That is great.
Okay.
Minus Vanilla Ice.
So
take that out. But the rest of it's fine.
So we went through this. So let's get to our number ones. My number one was actually mentioned by you earlier. I'm going to go ahead and say my least favorite, what I think the most terrible superhero movie is Catwoman.
Oh, okay. Feel you.
That
I feel you. I
I'm
almost
out of
switched that
ammo
out.
everywhere.
I almost switched that out with my number one, but I got my
Um,
own reasons for not doing it.
and I didn't want to mention too much because where I had it coming up on my list
Hmm.
when you mentioned it earlier. Okay, worst costume, terrible acting. I'm sorry, Halle Berry was
No,
absolutely
no,
horrid.
I'm not saying she was a
Okay,
great actress. I just enjoyed
she
looking at
was
her in a skimpy
horrible.
outfit. I just
Like
enjoyed looking at her in a skimpy outfit. That was
I,
it.
see, I'm not like most people. I do not think Halle Berry is hot.
Well,
I
I ain't
never
saying she's
did.
hot, but I mean, she's
So to me,
attractive.
she's not even easy to look at. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, I can't say that.
don't get me wrong. I don't mind seeing women in straight up leather and latex and all that stuff. That's all right. I'm not saying that's bad costume material, but the costume itself was just absolutely horrid.
True,
Like,
true.
and I'm sorry when she was just like meow or however the heck
Yeah.
she said done it, dude. It ruined the entire movie. I'm sorry. Worst superhero movie created. It needs to be wiped off the planet.
No, I won't disagree with you at all. 'Cause, I mean, I'm not
So,
saying the costume was great either. Um, but if I were to pick a Catwoman, I would say Halle Berry was better as Storm. She's already got her superhero role. I thought she was fine as Storm. If I was to pick a Catwoman, I'd have to go with probably Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
oh, I mean, there's
That
nothing
was great.
bad. Seriously, there's nothing bad that you can say about her Catwoman.
Yeah, that was a fantastic Catwoman. She hit all the right notes.
So that was my number one. What is your number one?
Um, I think your number no yours. This is a different number. My number one is Green Lantern. Um, Probably
Oh,
just for one reason that most other people won't mention, and that's because Green Lantern is my favorite character. Now I was excited and I liked it because I got a Green Lantern movie that wasn't animated, which I like the animated movies.
okay.
But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just blow smoke and say it was a great movie because obviously we all know what was wrong with that movie. It's like nobody tried. Ryan Reynolds, I like him as an actor. He's not bad for a superhero role, but like you said earlier, he's not no Green Lantern.
He is not Green Lantern.
But
So
it's like the
okay,
director didn't try, the script writers didn't try, so nobody tried, so the actors couldn't do anything with it.
right. Okay. So I told you I was going to ask you this. What is one movie that everybody thinks is terrible that you enjoy?
Um, I can't say that. Oh wait a minute, I got my movies mixed up. Um, I can't say that everybody hated this movie. I'm not sure if they did or not, but I liked Mystery Man. I thought it was a great movie, and it's not your typical
Which one was
superhero
that?
movie. It was a 1999 superhero movie, and it's not your typical like Superman or something like that. It was kind of your almost, I want to say like your backyard superhero movie. It was. Have you ever seen the movie Kick Ass?
Oh
It's
yes,
kind of like that
yes.
superhero movie. They don't really have superhero powers, but they still
Kick-Ass
dress
was
up and do.
fantastic.
But at the end of it, spoiler alert. At the end of it, they do end up doing some fantastic stuff. But it's great
Okay.
because you got Ben Stiller, you have Janine Garofalo, you have I think Kel Mitchell is in it. Um, I can't remember his name right off the bat, but the dude that plays Pee Wee Herman is in it. You got a great cast of people. It's got some dark qualities to it. It just hit a bad timing for hero movies because that was not long after the bat nipples.
Okay.
So that
All right.
just kind of set a bad mood.
So for me, a movie that a lot of people think is terrible that I enjoy is Spawn.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the movie. You know, live action Spawn, okay? I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. It's not. It had its flaws and everything.
Right.
But I enjoyed the movie. Like, I enjoy watching it. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Spawn's one of my favorite superheroes anyways. And I cannot wait for the new one. But I do enjoy the first Spawn movie.
Right.
Dang it. Okay, so the other question I was going to ask you was a superhero movie that everybody likes or loves that you dislike.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead and you do yours because I wrote down another one that people really didn't like that I liked because I wasn't thinking properly when I done that. So I'm trying to scramble for one real quick.
Um, Mine is Civil War.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't knock them for liking it or anything, but you know, I had I had about 2,000, 3,000 comics
Mm-hmm.
that that I'd collected over the years, and the biggest set that I had was almost 200 Civil War related comics,
Yeah.
and I knew the story. I knew pretty much the whole story. So when I watched the movie and a lot of it was wrong, it it put a sour taste in my mouth.
All right.
And even stuff with like, Cap was supposed to die at the end of it. I know a lot of people didn't want to see him die, but that's a huge part. And
Yeah.
I'm absolutely doing terrible on this team deathmatch.
Oh, I didn't even notice you switched
But
it up. I'm still playing zombies.
yeah, I switched it up to team deathmatch. But I'm doing terrible, so that's okay. But yeah, so Cap was supposed to die. Bucky was supposed to pick up the shield. Crossbones was supposed to live. There was a lot wrong with the movie, but it's me. I disliked it, but oh well.
Yeah, I mean, you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like.
So,
Yeah.
did you think if it wasn't for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a reach because it's one that I haven't seen in a long time.
Oh, I just killed my teammate.
But and if I remember correctly, I don't think it was very popular with a lot of people. But I enjoyed it. It was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, it was a solid movie.
If I remember correctly, and I may not be, but I don't think it was popular with a lot of people. Just because, I don't know, maybe too many characters or something that didn't really get great story arcs. They just kind of bundled them together. But I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't think too much of it. I didn't really know much about it going into the movie, and I didn't know much about it going out of the movie, but, I had a good time watching it.
All right. So I'm gonna finish this game of team deathmatch before I shut the stream off. So anybody still watching or that watches it later, in the comments below, just as Keegan has done, tell us, let us know what your least favorite superhero films are and all that. I would also like to take this time to mention that my co-host here, Monk, will be making an appearance on our other series on Sunday, The Nerd Out.
Yes, sir. And I plan to win.
It'll be... You do plan to win.
I'm gonna try.
The Nerd Out is, like, if you haven't watched it, please check it out. Watch it. But Monk will be on there, and I did absolutely terrible, and I'm going to let everybody see how terrible I did here in just a minute. But you will be here on Sunday doing the Nerd Out.
I will.
So hopefully you've prepped
I
for it
have.
because it shall be pretty good.
I have.
Um,
I think
so I
I'm happy with all of
did.
this.
I went 7-16. That is absolutely terrible, but not as bad as 4-15 as this guy below me did.
That's all right.
Keegan,
That's
I
all
didn't
right.
care too much for Age of Ultron either. Uh,
Um,
so
yeah. I should have just said Civil War, or yeah, I could have said Civil War for mine because I enjoyed it. I thought it
yeah.
was great, but
Uh,
that's me.
so next Thursday we will be doing another top five show. Monk is my co-host. Monk, have you picked out the topic yet?
No, not yet, but I was thinking about possibly doing top 5 favorite video games.
Oh, we can do it. So next week, top five video games. Um, so be sure to check out next Thursday's stream and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The Nerd Out will be live. It'll feature Monk and a buddy of ours named Kita. They're the second first round bout. Then we'll have one more after that. Then the losers will be voted on, and we'll have a wild card match to determine who the final four are for the first series. The winner of Keegan, if you want to join the conversation next week, just get with me and we will discuss it.
And feel free to leave comments for me.
Yeah, leave
For the
comments,
same
like, share,
topic
comment, all
in
that
this
good
video.
stuff. With that being said, make sure you watch the Nerd Out. It is my channel's #1 series,
Fantastic series.
and so I've been told a lot of people have enjoyed it. So I'm hoping it kicks off a little bit more. We will be doing this top 5 thing every week.
Oh no,
The times will vary, so just stay tuned to our channel. Now, in the comments below, also make sure you put any top 5s that you want to hear us discuss, and we'll do anything. It doesn't have to be video games or superheroes. Comment below and tell us. I mean, we'll top 5 music artists. It doesn't matter. Give us something to
I love
discuss.
music.
Join in the conversation.
Yeah, and feel
And,
free to leave those comments on this video on my channel as well.
So we'll get it going, and hopefully we can all have a good time doing it. Until next time, you guys be good.
Peace.